Here we are again, Canadian wrench. Well, I got one, a zero turn. Remember the Model A? It's gone. This is what I traded for it, and this is what I needed. So, it's the commercial unit. This is here somewhere, right there in the front. Cub Cadet, commercial. I think there was two options on engines. One was Kawasaki. The other one was Briggs and Stratton. Kawasaki would have been my first choice, but I got nothing bad to say about Briggs and Stratton. I did this deal back in November last year, and it's just been sitting under a tarp until spring of this year. Not a bad unit. Let's go over it. So yeah, I traded this for the Model A. I used it today, and grass came out great. Let's look over this thing. So under here, I traded it to a guy who obviously wanted the Model A, and he worked in the small engine business or something like that, small equipment, and he, I guess, got this and fixed it up a bit. So you can tell there's been some repairs, especially on the wiring. Yeah, that doesn't look like a factory loop. Yeah, so we'll just shorten up that cable. I like the idea of that, rubbing on that edge. And the same with this wire here. Where did it go? This one. I don't like the idea of rubbing on that edge. And then this relay, there's a relay here, right down in here. It's just floating around with a bunch of wires, and some have been repaired. So we'll straighten all that up. With that relay, maybe attach it to that point right there, the tie wrap or something. Now, negative cable looks good to here. It's funny how a vehicle sort of speaks to you and you realize what it's been through. So what do I mean? Well, obviously this thing had a blown fuse. So yeah, and there's lots of wiring done here, lots of connectors and stuff. Wires changing color. So you know that it had some kind of wiring issue. But it doesn't now, works great. Alright, so the guy I got this from said it was just serviced, and if you check the oil, it's perfectly clean. So I think by serviced he meant the oil was changed, and maybe not even the filter. This filter, I don't think it's been changed for a day or two either, because that looks pretty contaminated, I will say. So we'll put a new one of those on, new fuel filter. We're going to straighten up that wiring, we're going to change this cable, and fix that oil leak. Let's look at the hour meter here. 221.5. I put the last 1.5 on there, that was today. So it's got the Briggs and Stratton engine. When I used it today, there was puffs of smoke and oil everywhere. And you can see oil everywhere down here. So I think what might have happened is maybe, I don't know, it looks like that filter's been off before. So it's hard to say. The oil looks brand new. So I'm going to try a new oil filter first, because this is where all the oil is, down here. Dripping on the exhaust right there. And stinking me out when I was using it. The other thing I did is I cleaned these guys out. They're good for cleaning your deck afterwards. I removed these covers. There's a grease fitting there. There's grease fittings all over this thing. So I found every one I could. I don't have a manual or anything. And I greased everything. Again, he said it was fully serviced. I don't think grease was part of that. But it is now. And I will do it again. Probably I'll use it one more time and grease it all again. Going under it now, you can see there's there's a hydraulic filter that were there on that. Each wheel, let's start again here. Each wheel is driven by a transmission, and each transmission has a filter. So what I'd like to do is change the oil in that transmission, in that filter, and again on this one, on this side, which is behind that cover. Now, I took the cover off. Here it is here, and you can see all the crap sitting in there. So that has not been off for a day or two. So, I like to change that oil, and I'll bet you it's not cheap. So let's do it and do it right. Remember I said there was oil leaking up top. You can see it's dripping everywhere, and then it got a little bit on that belt up there, which is dry belt for your two wheels. So I noticed it was a little bit funny sometimes. So I think we should really change that belt, but we'll at least get all the oil off it and all from underneath here. This transmission here at the front is very, very caked on mud, everything way up in there. So we're going to give that a good clean power wash and everything. Same on that side, whereas this one looks like it may have been replaced at some point. The deck, you can just see the back of it here. The rear casters, most of them look okay. The last one, half of it went on vacation there. So maybe we'll have to get one or two of those. We'll add that to the list. So when they were talking about putting your hydraulics in neutral position on this tractor here, or on this unit, this is it here. There's one here and there's one on the other side. So what you do is you pull it. There's a shoulder here. If I can get this thing to focus, there we go. There's a shoulder on that rod. So you pull it through the big hole and then latch it down on here, and that will put it into neutral, like that. See? Right there. Anyway, there's one here, and then follow the muffler over, and there's one there. When I got this bolt here, that one right there, you could thread it out by hand. So I made sure that was tight. That bolt there was missing, and that rod was just sort of hanging down. So I know someone's been in fooling around in here. I think this strut was off. So I put that back on, put that bolt back in, tighten that up, and it is good to go. The other thing I found, you can see right here, that's a string that was wrapped all around this axle. And you're like, okay, who cares? Well, what happens is that string works its way around the axle and takes out that oil seal right there. So you want to see if you can unravel that and get it out. I pulled out around 18 inches so far. I still got that much more, and another loop or two around. So another thing I noticed, I filled it up with fuel, and right here it was leaking a bit. So it looks like it's all melted or something like that. So maybe something fell against it or something like that. Anyway, so we'll fix that up too. Maybe a touch of fiberglass or something like that. And I filled it. Oh, wow. So I didn't use much fuel. I cut my mow time down in half. So I'm really happy with that. It was 3 hours, now an hour and a half. Let's see if these are somewhat equal. I'd say so, yeah. So that's good. That means that they're siphoning from both tanks at the same time. Very good. Take this path up here. We'll end up on my roof. And my roof is made of grass. Anyway, Mower did a great job. I'm really happy with that. Here we go. Nothing to complain about there. Nice and clear. I was talking about the gas tank earlier. You can see that right there looks like the corner of something, like a corner of a table or whatever. And because this sticks out, I'm assuming something this drove into something. Something didn't drive into it. So previous owner damage, I guess. And looks like they tried to melt the plastic or whatever around here to fix it, but didn't do there. So that seems to be where the leak is, and I think I can do a good job at just sanding that down. We'll put a little bit of fiberglass and fix that. Leaky gas, that's not a good thing. All right, I popped that filter off. Here's the old one. It's hard to say how old that is, whether it's been off or not, I don't know. Anyway, new one's on it. It's a little bit taller, and it is a Kohler filter. That's okay. The number crosses, and maybe the bigger filter will give me more filtration. You can see it's a little bit taller this way than the old one. Anyway, changed that. Took the mower out, did a little bit of grass, came back, oil everywhere. So I did some research. And in between this part of the case and that lower part of the case is a gasket. And that gasket is not made of good material and tends to either get sucked in or blown out. And it seems to be back in here, down there. I got a little video. So I ordered the gaskets. If anybody needs to know, there's where your numbers are. So there's the top two are the ones they want to know. Anyway, I copied them all down, called the place, it's just around the corner, and got all the parts coming. Under $100 in parts, and unfortunately the engine's got to come out. So it's not a big deal. Really, it's 4 bolts, a couple pulleys, and whatever. Cables, wires. Fighting the wind a bit, but okay, this is what I replaced. It was again a Cub Cadet. I do like Cub Cadet. It was the LTS125. What's under the hood? Again, Briggs and Stratton. This thing always started up, hardly ever had to come apart. Like the carb, I mean. Never had any problems. Put a new fuel tank in it years ago, and this thing just kept going and going and going and going. It's like the most basic machine ever, but man, does it go. And I know you're probably saying, hey, what was that? Yeah, another one. That's the Hydrostatic 1650 Cub Cadet. Awesome machine. I've got on the back the tiller, which is great. I love it. Let's see. Anything bad about this one? Hey, that doesn't belong there. Yes. Oh, what engine does this have? It has a Kohler engine. You can't even see it because it's tucked in there, but believe me, I know. So, that's what I replaced. So parts are going to be a week, so I'll have to make another video. And you can see me pull this engine out. That's it for this video. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.